In this video, we're going to take a look at the spreadsheet you see on the screen, which is a meal planner. This spreadsheet will allow you to plan all your meals for the weekend. From that, tell you how much of each ingredient you need to buy to be able to make all those meals. How much of each ingredient do you need to buy to be able to make all those meals? If you're interested in this material, it's available for purchase at the link in the description of the video. The final product, that is, the final stage of this spreadsheet. It's us filling out this meal planning tab for the week. You're going to enter a date and then input the meals and the quantity of each one that you'll have on each of the days. The result, after filling this out, is to have this tab here filled out. You notice that I have an ingredients tab here, which, based on what you fill in as your weekly meal plan, will tell you how much of each of those ingredients you need to buy to be able to make all those dishes. So, this spreadsheet will allow you to plan your meals for the week and will provide you with that information in a very simple and quick way. Before we actually get started, we need to make some entries, some registrations in our spreadsheet. So, this spreadsheet will allow you to plan your meals for the week and will do it in a very simple and quick way. How much of each ingredient you need to buy to make those dishes. Before we actually get started, we need to make some entries, some registrations in our spreadsheet. The first thing you need to do is register the measurements. So, since we're dealing with meals, we're going to have various types of measurements to specify the amount of each ingredient. We can talk about grams, we can talk about kilograms, we can talk about liters, we can talk about quantities. So, of course, depending on where you are, you may have different types of measures. You will come here and put this measurement here in the first column. You will put an abbreviation, a name that is a little shorter so that later, when you are filling it out, you use this name and, in front, you will put the full name, so as not to forget what that was. If you need to fill in something different, once you've acquired the spreadsheet, you can add the items here, in this existing spreadsheet, or if you have something new. Just go to the next row and fill it in, and the spreadsheet will automatically adjust to that new row. After that, you need to register the ingredients, meaning everything you'll be using in the dishes you'll consume throughout the week. Just go to the next row and fill it in, and the spreadsheet will automatically adjust to that new row. Next, you need to register the ingredients, meaning everything you'll be using in the dishes you'll consume throughout the week. You need to come here and register. You're going to fill out the column Item up to the Notes column, which is an optional detail. You can add about that item. The quantity column is already highlighted here as automatic, meaning you don't need to make any additions or changes. Better said, you shouldn't make changes in this column, because these are formulas, and those formulas can't be messed up in the spreadsheet. Look at the item. Fill each item separately. I registered rice, beans, garlic, steak. Each line is an ingredient for meals. Note that, in the first line, I registered the rice, then I placed the beans, then I placed the garlic, and, lastly, I placed the steak. So, each line represents an item, an essential ingredient that we have to use in our meals. In the front column, I put the measurement. That measurement I registered earlier in the first column will show up here as a drop-down. So, you select what the measurement is. Which are you referring to, for example, for rice? When you enter data about the quantity of rice to prepare a meal, you have to enter it in kilos, because your registration year is in kilos. So, it is important that you follow the same unit of measurement in the registration that you are entering here. Once you have registered all the ingredients needed to make your dishes, you will come here to Meal Records. So that's it. Here you will create various and delicious dishes, the meals that you might want to make during the week. It's what you register here that will show up in your planning. So, look, I registered complete beans and I registered an onion, steak. So, these two dishes that I'm going to make, they need to be registered here. So, look, I just put the complete beans and I put the steak, which is the beef, here with the onion. I'm just going to fill in the onion as an ingredient. I'm going to do it along with you and I'll put it in grams. So, I already have all the ingredients I need and I've registered all the dishes I have to register. Now, the last step before we get into the planning. Basically, It's about us creating these recipes. So, you registered the ingredient, and then you mentioned which dishes you'll have for meals during the week. And now, we need to talk about what goes into each dish. So, you come here to the Recipes tab. How should it be filled out? You're going to fill out just 3 columns. You're going to select the name of the meal in the first column and in the second column. Which ingredient goes into that meal and the amount of that ingredient. This amount should be the quantity you buy, not the amount you're going to eat. Because you know that after you make the dish, this amount will usually decrease. Due to liquid loss, fat loss, or other things, this amount here should be the quantity you buy and not necessarily the amount you're going to consume. So, look, just with the complete beans. We're going to add beans, we're going to add garlic, and we're going to add onion. For the beans, I'm going to put 200 grams. So, in this case, 200 grams is equivalent to 0.2 kilo. Because the beans, remember, you had registered them in kilos. So, I have to put the measurement in kilos. Starting from the front column, you don't touch it. Why? There, automatic formulas. The spreadsheet itself highlights it for you. From here on, it's automatic, so you won't put anything. The beans are still not complete. Because, as I said, in the complete beans, you add the beans, the garlic, and the onion. So, you need to go to the next line. Add the garlic and, in the next line, the onion. Since we're dealing with the same dish, the same meal, I don't need to come here and enter the complete beans again. I can go to the ingredient, and the spreadsheet will already understand that it hasn't been filled in. The name of the meal means that the meal is the same as the one in the line above. So I come here, select the garlic, and like I told you, look, the spreadsheet already understands that. That line refers to the same meal. From the previous line, the garlic is measured in grams. How are you seeing this here? And I'm going to add 30 grams of garlic. It's for illustrative purposes. So, even if I get some measurements wrong, don't worry about it. What matters is what you're going to do with your day. And finally, I'm going to add the onion. The onion is the last thing we need for our complete beans. And here I'm going to put 15 grams of onion with this. Here the spreadsheet has already made the spreadsheet. You already know that when you mention in your meal planning that you're going to use a complete bean in a certain amount. The spreadsheet already knows that it will have to use that amount of each of the ingredients. I finished the beans, now I'm moving on to our steak. So, in this CA, see, since I'm changing the meal in the first column, I come here and select the other meal that I'm going to register. I chose the steak, adding ingredients, steak in grams, and I'm going to add what's going into the steak. In this steak, it's the steak itself and its registration in grams. I'm going to add 250 grams. And I'm also going to add another ingredient, which is the onion. For the onion here, I'm going to add 50 grams. And I've already finished my steak with onions, just like I planned. And when you finish the recipes, you'll be ready to put together your plan for the week. So check out what the first step is to set up your weekly plan. Up here, in the reference date, you'll put the date that will show the first day of your week. Usually, we put a Monday. You'll notice that from this date, we have 7 dates filled in, meaning this is the first one, and the rest of the week. We'll fill in the following columns from this first date. Also note that the date here is not in American format. But when you open your Excel registered in the United States with American format, the date will automatically be in a different format. Here, you can see that you can select up to 30 meals for that day. So I'm setting it for January 20th, 2025. I come here and, in the first row, I select a meal. I'm going to put beans, a full serving of beans for that day, January 20th. How many full servings of beans am I going to make? I'm going to put 2 because I'm simulating one for lunch and one for dinner, so I'll put 2. Following my plan for that day, I'm going to put the steak with onions. I'm going to put 4 here because I'm going to assume that it's me and my spouse. And being together, we consume 2 in the morning and 2 at night, so in this case, I have to put 4. If you had registered more meals, you could put breakfast, afternoon snack, lunch, dinner, etc. here. You could do this for that day and for the other days of the week, so you could come here and put just one. On this day, I'm going to put 2 steaks and keep going like that with the other days and the other dishes. As in the example, our planning is just for you to see the spreadsheet. I'm leaving it. As you're planning, at some point, you'll complete your weekly plan, reaching the last column and ensuring that you have indeed entered all the meals you needed to include. And there you have it, our shopping list is ready because just look at how the spreadsheet works. The first thing you're going to do is count how many meals you're going to make during that week and how you've planned it out. She checks her plan, sees quantities, and calculates ingredients. Then, she'll add up how much of each ingredient you need to buy because you've done all the planning for the week. She counts how many dishes there are for each meal, and she counts how much of each ingredient. Once she counts all that, she adds everything up. And it gives you the information that, to be able to do all this meal planning that you want to do, you need to have 600 grams, that is 0.6 kilograms of beans, 90 grams of garlic, 1.5 kg steak, and 345 grams of onion. Grams of steak and 345 grams of onion. Everything is done automatically. If you change, say, any quantity, like for example, the steak, if I jump from 2 to 4, it automatically recalculates. Look, it already recalculated and saw that you'll need 2 kilos, or 2,000 grams of steak in this case. Look, just recalculated and saw that you will need 2 kilos. That is 2,000 grams of steak in this case. So, it is an extremely dynamic spreadsheet, which works very simply. You only have to worry about registering measurements, ingredients, meals, and recipes. Just once, and then you'll just do your weekly planning. You did the weekly planning. Go back to the Ingredients tab, and everything will be ready. How much you need to buy of each of these ingredients. As I told you, this spreadsheet, which is a meal planner, is available for purchase at the link in the video description. Don't miss the chance to have an incredibly rich and interesting spreadsheet helping you with your meal planning for the week. We'll see each other around, and take care.